The fountain of youth. Youth may or may not be wasted on the young. But it seems these days everyone wants to live forever. Between reality TV shows, full of peppy 20-somethings looking for instant fame, come the adverts for anti-wrinkle and anti-aging cream, and then even more adverts extolling the virtues of various kinds of hair dye. Like vampires, these ads flash across our screens in 30-second bites, draining the life out of us. These products with their siren slogans fill the airway as the pretty smiles of the all-too-beautiful people fill our eyes. But why do they hold so much power over us? Why are we spending our money on beauty products to look younger? I can't help thinking that we'd be better off taking a leaf out of Dorian Gray's book and getting ourselves a picture that can sit up in our attic and slowly age on our behalf. I mean, can anyone remain young and beautiful with the help of some overpriced face cream and hair dye? Maybe I'm just getting old, but I'm beginning to believe that perhaps we're missing the point. I can't help but think that this hankering after our youth is more about the regrets of our past than any intrinsic value of being young. After all, being young often means getting paid less for doing the same job. Being young means taking on the burden of thousands of pounds of debt to get a university education. And being young means chasing after money, power and status only to find that the very things they've been telling you that will make you happy, not only don't make you happier but more often than not make you completely miserable. Despite the cult of youth that permeates the airwaves, the young are being screwed and don't even know it. It's the old folk that hold all the cards. They got a free university education, the right to buy their council home and a final salary pension along with a low retirement age of 60 for women and 65 for men. The young on the other hand look likely to spend years paying off their student loans, never being able to save enough to afford their own homes, and will then probably drop dead before they reach a retirement age which, like a mirage, seems to recede into the distance with each passing year. Perhaps, instead of searching for a fountain of youth or seeking to live forever, we should embrace old age and all the benefits it brings. I don't know about you, but at the very least, the winter fuel payment and free TV license might come in handy. Of course, our fixation with remaining young is nothing new and has deep roots in the human psyche. Most of the world's ancient civilizations had myths revolving around the quest for immortality, and many of our most popular characters in TV shows have explored the whole notion of immortality at great length. One of the oldest surviving pieces of human literature, the Epic of Gilgamesh, was written by the Sumerian civilization in a region that's now part of northern Iraq. It tells the story of King Gilgamesh who has many adventures with his friend Enkidu. Unfortunately, Enkidu dies, which makes Gilgamesh think of his own mortality, so he goes in search of an elixir of life that will give him immortality. On his journey, he meets the Sumerian equivalent of Noah who, not only survived the flood, is the only man to achieve immortality. The Sumerian Noah tells Gilgamesh that immortality is a fool's errand at best and at worst a real drag, man. Okay, so their version of Noah doesn't and never did sound like some stoned hippie from Woodstock, but you get the point. Immortality is, from the mouth of an immortal man himself, not worth the effort. Fast forward many centuries and pop into one of the ancient Greek cities and you will come across stories about people searching for immortality by going on quests or sucking up to a god. Of course, this is the ancient Greeks we're talking about, so like most of their myths, there's a dark twist at the end of the tale. A classic example of this is the story of Sybil. Sybil wished for a kind of immortality, to live for as long as there are grains of sand and a handful of dust. Apollo granted her wish, but she forgot to ask for eternal youth too, so she ended up hanging upside down from the ceiling of her cave like a decrepit bat. Now, fast forward through the centuries until we get to Victorian Britain and you'll find Bram Stoker is mesmerizing his readers with the power of Dracula. Over the years, we've been greeted, or should that be bitten, by various incarnations of the vampire, but none of them, and I mean absolutely none of them, suggest this kind immortality is worth the price you must pay. A vampire is a being who, despite living forever and having the power to chomp their way through entire villages of hapless humans, never seems to be especially happy. The ones that are the most vicious and cruel seem to be going through the motions, seem to be bloodthirsty because it's the only way they can feel anything at all. Even the ones like Louis, from Interview with a Vampire, who refrained from sucking the nearby humans dry, never seem to be that happy, either. This fact only goes to prove that, even as one of the undead, veganism doesn't seem a particularly positive lifestyle choice. In the present day, science fiction books and TV shows like Star Trek concur with the writers of old. In these shows, immortal beings, despite their initial strangeness, have some striking similarities, none of which make immortality seem particularly inviting. On the one hand, there are those immortal beings that are cruel and capricious just like vampires. For example, Q, an omnipotent being who seems to enjoy toying with mortal creatures for his own amusement. On the other hand, there are the Bajoran prophets who, while benevolent, exist outside the confines of time and space and so have great difficulty understanding concepts like death. In any case, what this proves is that any immortality which involves us transcending the limits of our physical body is doomed to failure because it's our frail and finite bodies which make us uniquely human. Immortality unencumbered by the limitations of the body may strip us of our physical pain and suffering, but it also strips us of our humanity too. Existence as pure energy, then, may make us cruel and capricious or benignly indifferent to other mortal creatures. Immortality will only make us less human, not more. So, to echo the lyrics of the classic Queen anthem, who wants to live forever, anyway?